Tips for Teens kicks off Sparks' first post-Moroder album, though it was produced by his longtime associate Mac with a blast. As a rocking power pop new wave number, it slotted into everything around it at the time perfectly. But the sense was of the world catching up to Sparks rather than the band chasing the train, and only Sparks could come up with lines like "Don't eat that burger, has it got mayonnaise, give it to me." The equally sharp and catchy funny face follows with the truly hilarious detailing of a person who looks so perfect that he throws himself off a bridge in despair. As a 1-2 start to an album, this simply couldn't be beat. Although mired in a rut of merely good albums, Sparks had offered occasional glimpses of their old greatness on each, fanning the dim hope that they might climb again to previous heights. The faithful were rewarded with "ANGST IN My PANTS," the first album in years and, sadly, the last that puts the pop genius to good use. The differences between this album and the inferior "WHOMP THAT SUCKER" are subtle but important. First, the material is much better. Okay, that's not so subtle. Second, the band is brought up in the mix at the expense of the synthesizer, and the result feels more like their old power pop than the new wave disco sound of recent efforts. Lastly, Russell Mael's voice is lower. He still hits the high notes on occasion, but for the most part this is an album of pop songs you can actually sing along with, and the lyric sheet, while provided, isn't necessary this time. An entire generation of new fans arose regardless to pursue the siblings through both the future convolutions and the past ones too. In Outer Space's almost ruthless distillation of all that had gone before was then an ideal place for them to start. Like the duo's Giorgio Moroder era, In Outer Space represented a creative rejuvenation that its immediate predecessors had scarcely dared hint at, even within the quickly dated framework of the album's production. The tunes bristle with a locomotive curiosity that neither "WHOMP THAT SUCKER" nor "ANGST IN MY PANTS" could muster, and if there's nothing here as instantly striking as, say, "This town ain't big enough for Equator," neither is there anything as ultimately grating as "I predict a wacky women." Rather, there is praying for a party, but it is readily forgivable in the face of the rib-tickling all you ever think about is sex. Are the unapologetically romantic rocking girls. You're the only girl I've ever met who hates "Hey Jude," muses Russell. Maybe that's the reason I'm so in love with you. It lacks anything as appealing. Songs like the title track and "Everybody Move" have danceable grooves, and "Song That Sings Itself" and "Love Scenes" are surprisingly conventional love songs. Russell Mael generally avoids his sometimes grating falsetto. The melodies and arrangements are simple, and the lyrics lack the usual tongue-twisting eccentricity. In short, most of what made Sparks unique is absent on "Pulling Rabbits Out of a Hat," leaving a surprisingly generic 80s band. Few sparks are struck here.